fine, yeah.
So all day today, I've been trying to shift my clothing around and doing it the wrong way because I can't work out if I'm in the mirror or not. Do you know what I mean? You sort of, you see something that's out and then you pull it and you're actually making it worse.
Yeah, you see it on camera, like some of those, like my bra strap peeking.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
And then it just makes more of a mountain out of it because you're just moving things around in the wrong way. Anyway, right, we're on 109. Are you ready to rock? Do you want to press record?
Yeah. Very warm.
This meeting is being recorded.
She's driving.
I know, she is bonkers, isn't she? We don't need her.
Oh, Chad's flat out again now. Oh, bless
her. All right, we need to keep an eye on the time, don't we? Because we've got something else at 7. So we will do that. All right. 3, 2, 1. This is Trainer Talk, the podcast, brought to you by Sharon Gaskin of the Trainers Training Company and me, Jeanette Tessier of the Get That Gang. In our weekly show, we cover news and views from our businesses along with a top-of-mind topic. Of course, it wouldn't be Trainer Talk, the podcast, without the Dog Walking Digest, and every now and again we invite a guest along to share their experience and expertise. After 90 episodes of just audio, we're now on YouTube as well. So feel free to catch up there. Just search for the Trainers Training Company or the Get That Gang, or download us on audio only through your favourite podcast streamer. So why not sit back with a cuppa, make that journey or chore go a little bit quicker with our weekly inspiration for developing your training business. Welcome. This is Trainer Talk, the podcast, and we're at episode number 109. So, Sharon, it's a little bit weird because we're not recording this at the same time that we normally do, which is kind of partly down to your week. So, how was your week? Tell us all about it.
I just like to say, I've just got one question to ask you, and is it only Tuesday?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, afraid so.
It's just been a weird week. Well, it wasn't even before Monday or Saturday or whenever. Last week. Yeah. Excuse me, because I know we always do review of the week. Last week was a really sort of quiet week. I don't know whether you found that. It was like, obviously we had the bank holiday and like they just seemed to be like everybody seemed to be on holiday last week. So last week was just really quiet. But also, I don't know, it's picked up a little bit this week, but it still felt a little bit, I don't know, it's almost feeling as I'm sensing that kind of that start of summertime, you know, that start of the 3 summer months when things do feel a bit quieter, you know. I can't put my finger on it, but yeah, it was all feeling a little bit weird. And then it just got weirder because we had a phone call on so those of you who've been listening to the podcast and following the house saga and hashtag Wargate and everything like that, it reached a conclusion on Saturday afternoon when we had a phone call from the estate agent to say that said buyer didn't want to buy the house anymore. Quelle surprise.
Yeah, big surprise.
And basically, you know, that was that. And so it was weird in a way because there was a part of me that was actually felt quite relieved. You know, I wasn't really upset. I wasn't like really devastated. I was kind of like, oh, okay. Yeah. You know, because if it was always going to happen. I always felt it was going to happen. Yeah. And as we've talked about on the podcast many times before, why did I not listen to my intuition? Because it is always right.
Yeah. I mean, you know, you knew, I knew. Just the trouble is your estate agent didn't know. Yeah. Well, this woman who was saying that she wanted to buy your house, I think, you know, we both picked up several weeks ago that she had no intention of doing that. She was just mucking around. But the trouble is, you want to believe the best of people. That's the trouble,
and that's the thing. That is the thing. You want to believe in the best. You want to believe in the best in people,
totally.
Even though your intuition is telling you that this is just not going to go anywhere.
Exactly.
So that was happening, and so then it was like, okay. So then we put the house back on the market immediately. Yep. As you would do.
Absolutely.
And literally within, she put it on, and literally within half an hour, we had 4 bookings for Monday. For this week. 2 of which were Monday, which was yesterday, and 2 more on Wednesday. So I was like, oh, okay, well that's really promising.
Yeah.
So anyway, so then Sunday, I then go for my COVID jab. You know, and again, listeners of the podcast will remember, you know, all the shenanigans when I went for it last time.
Yes.
And embarrassed myself by probably being the most difficult person in the building. And but this time, you'd be pleased to know I was in and out. I was very brave. I was in and out, and got home, and it wasn't, you know, in terms of, you know, I didn't react well to it last time.
Yeah.
And it was pretty much okay, but I did wake up on Monday feeling a bit weird, very much like you did with your first jab, with that kind of cotton wool head and feeling really tired and everything like that. Anyway, but we had to get out of the house because obviously these people were coming round. So one at 12 o'clock and one at 12:30. So we got out of the house, went for a walk. I was still feeling, by that time I was definitely feeling a bit weird. Went for the walk, came back. And then the estate agent was like on the driveway, like, oh, things always happen for a reason, don't they? And I'm like, yeah. And in my COVID jab induced sort of fog brain was going, oh, really? You know, I couldn't really work out what she was saying. And she's saying, well, how does this sound then? I'm like, how does what sound? And she like told me like this figure. And I was like, well, yeah, that sounds great, but what does that kind of relate to? Well, it relates to an offer that, well, what offer? Well, the offer that's just been made. I was like, yeah, but in the house, you're like, she said, yes, in the house.
Doesn't
People
compute.
Don't do that. I know. I was like, she couldn't take it in. I was like, really? This is you? And then the kind of penny finally dropped. I was like, but that's amazing. That's amazing. So somebody literally came inside the house, made an offer. They're literally almost 20 grand more than the other people. And yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And, you know, I don't like to be that person that says, I told you so. But what did I say to you? In Slack.
The universe is looking after you.
Exactly. Exactly. The people coming round, they're going to be people that'll just go, yeah, love it. That's brilliant. And it's going to be smooth. So, yes.
Mind you, a note of caution there. The other one said exactly the same thing when she came inside the house. So, you know.
Yeah, but this time they mean it.
She was still saying it on Friday.
Oh, I know. But I think we've already established that she is a sandwich short of a picnic.
Can't go there.
So we don't have to go anywhere near her. She's not going to get to live in your house. No. Nice people will get to live in your house.
Well, exactly, because that was really getting on my nerves as well. I was cleaning the cooker every night going, don't want that person to live in my house. Don't want that person to be cleaning my cooker, thank you.
She's not allowed. Absolutely. No, definitely.
Oh, my God. So, yeah, so it was all a very foggy, you know, weird day on all sorts of levels. And then today it was all a bit like disruptive because so the builders arrived today to, you know, take the wall down and install new fencing requested by the person who's not going to buy the house anymore, of course. So I hope she likes it. And send her a picture, shall I?
Oh, I would. Yeah, here's what you could have won.
Oh my God. So that's all been weird because it's right here. So they've literally been, you know, walking in and out and things like that. So I was delivering my training session today for More Than Membership, and he's like waving at me and like, hello.
Excellent.
It's radio blaring. It's all very
oh dear. Very
but,
odd.
Yeah, I know. And then we were like sitting in the garden at lunchtime, talking about plans because obviously he's going to be the same builder to do all the work on the other house. But I was talking about a house that we still don't know whether we're going to be moving into. So
yeah, but, you are. You are.
Keep thinking we can't be that unlucky again, can we?
No, exactly. You've got this now, for sure. Brilliant. So that kind of brings us up to date then.
Yeah. So it feels like it should be Friday, not Tuesday. It's just like it just feels like it's been very, very weird. The last, I suppose, not just last 2 days, but since Saturday, it's just all been a bit of a whirlwind, you know.
Oh, I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, for different reasons for me, but yeah, absolutely. It's kind of, you get like that, don't you? And you just kind of, what what day is it? What's going on? Is it not the weekend yet? Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very odd.
No, well.
Very, very odd.
All right. Well, so my week last week, a bit like you, quieter on the meeting front, although that's all changed this week, so I don't think it's the start of the long summer holidays by any stretch. But a couple of things that we did last week. So we had the judging for our...
We did indeed, and that was on my list, yes. That was funny, wasn't it?
So for those of you that aren't aware, at the last Trainer Talk Live, which with everything crossed, we hope that it might be the last virtual one, but who knows the next couple of weeks will tell. But we set a challenge for people attending, and I think we must have mentioned this a couple of weeks ago anyway, but we there's no harm in recapping. We paired people up and asked them to make a video about each other, and using an inanimate object to describe each other in less than a minute, so a minute each. And we had our judging session on Thursday afternoon, didn't we?
We did.
Which was very exciting, and going through all these videos, we got some talented people. In the membership. Yes, very, very good. Very good. And we chose our top 3. So you started revealing them today. So number 3 was revealed. It's very exciting. So presumably you're going to do number 2 tomorrow and number 1 on Thursday, yeah?
Indeed, yes.
Perfect.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thursday, which is really Tuesday or Monday. Who knows?
Exactly. So I'm just trying to work out. So we're all right to say who's got third, second, and first in this podcast, because this won't be going out until the earliest you can get it is Thursday night, right?
True.
So yes. we could.
Yeah.
I'm just sorry, listeners and viewers, but just trying to work out, because everything's sort of shifted around, and we're recording this now on a Tuesday evening, really. Hence the reason I've got my glasses on, because it's the end of the day and my eyes have just gone. Trying to work out when this is going out and when things are going to be announced, so that we don't give anything away too soon. But I think we're okay with this. So
we're okay.
We're all right. So in third place was the gorgeous Shelley Fishel and Susanna Simmons with their entry. And then in second place, we had the delectable Audrey Bodman and Clinton Wingrove with their with their entry. And then, drum roll. Oh yes, yours is much louder. In first place, we had the amazing Magda Tabak and Karen Douglas, who if you're in Trainer Talk, you will see the video. It just blew everybody else out the water, I'm afraid. Such inventiveness and storytelling. Very, very good. Yeah. Very good indeed. So that was lots of fun to do all of that and all the judging for that. So that was really good. And then on Friday we had a business clinic, didn't we?
We did, yes, indeed. And it was
Yeah, go on.
No, I thought it was just so good how it kind of morphed into started off with one question, which was around pricing, and it morphed into this amazingly sort of productive and meaningful discussion about value and imposter syndrome and all that kind of stuff, didn't it?
It was brilliant. It was just how a clinic should be, insofar as when we first started, I mean, there were 10 or so people on the call, something like that. And when you start it, as you always do, anybody got any issues or challenges or questions they want to bring, and eventually one person put their hand up and then somebody else put their hand up, you think, okay, all right, only 2. And I think we did have only 2. I say only in inverted commas, because those discussions turned out to be really fruitful, I think, for everybody. So if you weren't able to attend the clinic and you're in the Trainer Talk group in the membership, then do watch the replay of the clinic when the replay is made available, because I think it's valuable for anybody to have a look at that and just hear the range of views actually and perspectives about the different things that we were talking about. I thought it was a really good one, good one.
Yeah, it was really, really excellent. It was like kind of finished and sort of sat back and thought, wow, so much great stuff came out of that.
Completely.
Really,
really for sure. I really enjoyed that, which was great because I think that was a nice session to have to also introduce the fact that from July we'll be doing the weekly, and I think we might not have that same type of in-depth discussion again. I'm imagining that the weekly ones will be a lot more sort of snapping, sharp and quick, but only because they're so much more available for people. But we'll see how they turn out, which is really cool. So that was that for worky type stuff, but high drama in Queen's Park / Charminster, which is the area of Bournemouth that I live in, on Friday night. Didn't see what happened, but saw the aftermath. And for anybody that isn't aware, I live next to a set of traffic lights, and one of the roads is a fairly major route for particularly emergency services. So if you listen to old podcasts or any recording from me, really, you're quite likely to hear a siren at some point. But what it does do is allow me to see whenever there are any sort of bits of drama in terms of collisions or whatever going on. And I heard something on Friday night. Wasn't quite sure what it was. It didn't sound like the usual. So just sort of got up to look out the window, and there's loads of people milling around. So opposite my front window, and I'm a first floor flat, which means I've got obviously the raised angle to see what's going on. And the traffic lights, it's a one-way street opposite me coming up towards to face my house, on the traffic lights, as I say. And over the other side of the road, there's loads of people milling around and all the rest of it, and there's a car pulled over to the side. Now, it's not unusual for the house diagonally opposite mine. It's split into flats. There's 5 flats there, I think, and they have lots of cars between them. They've got a massive driveway, huge numbers of cars always there, and always parked on the road outside, including on the double yellow line. So you don't really, it's not unusual to see a car on the double yellow lines, but actually more than a glance showed this scene where there was a car sort of pulled over, and it was on the double yellows, and you kind of look at it, and it's one of those where you look at it and you think, there's something wrong, but I can't quite put my finger on what it is. And it took me a few seconds to realise that the front wheels of this car, one of them was like that and the other one was like that. Oh, okay, that's not right. What's going on here? And then there were people milling around on a few cars further back down the road, and people sort of generally hanging around. And as I'm watching, I'm looking, and there's a woman sitting in the car with the wheels like that. There's a woman sitting in it, and then there's people trying to get in to the car and trying to pull things out and trying to do stuff, and people on mobile phones, and I'm looking and I'm like, hang on, what's going on here? And it looks like one of the people is phoning the police because he's on the phone. And then looking out down the road and all the rest of it. But as I'm watching, there's another guy who is actually physically trying to yank this woman out of her car. And I'm like, hang on, no. If you think that she's done something wrong, I don't care what she's done wrong, you don't get to yank her out of her car. You don't. It's just, and it, from what I can ascertain looking on, it looks like she's come up the road, she's bashed into one car, bashed into another one, or something, not much, but something's gone wrong, and she's now over at the side of the road. And then what I'm looking at is this guy kind of holding onto her arms at one point and actually physically trying to pull her out the car, and she's trying to resist. And I'm just, no, that's not right. So I phone the police because I'm just like, hang on, I'm not having this. I'm not going out there because there's tons of people out there, but at the same time. So I'm on the phone saying to the controller in the control room, and she's saying, oh yeah, no, there's off-duty policemen on scene. And I'm thinking, right, okay, that must be the guy who had the phone, who looked like he was phoning the police, but I don't know if the other two are or not. And even if they are, no, you don't do that. She's not going to be able to drive off. Look at her car. She cannot drive off. If you think she's going to get up and try and run away, stand in front so that she can't do that, but don't try and yank her out the car. And I was getting more and more worried for her on the phone, going, look, can you please make sure that the on-duty police turn up really quickly, please, because I'm really worried for her safety. I mean, okay, so she might need to, they did breathalyze her, but that's standard practice. She might be a drunk driver. She might, have gone into somebody, but there's no casualties in the road. There's no ambulance It was just the police that turned up. So clearly she was in the wrong about something, but she was hysterical. I could hear her with my window shut. I could hear her. Absolutely hysterical about something, and yet they kept trying to yank her out of the car, and I'm like, I'm not having that. So I've got no idea. Sorry to particularly Denise, who I know follows these stories and likes to hear the follow-up to them. I have no idea what the end of this story is, because, you know, I was going to say the real police, the on-duty police turned up and took her out of the car and into the back of their car, and obviously did the breathalyzer and all the rest of it. They took her away and the car stayed there, but it was gone. I mean, it was still there when I left on Saturday to go up to Mum's, but it's gone now. So, you know, presumably it's been towed or put on the back of a flatbed or whatever. But it was one of those things where I said, am I actually seeing this? This is like, you know, and because there were so many people hanging around, it felt a bit like a sort of a baying mob kind of thing. I mean, nobody was standing there going, get her out, or anything like that. No, but it was just, you know, why are you trying to pull this woman out of the car when she is clearly in distress? And I don't care what she's done. You know, there's no casualties, so I don't think she's, you know, hit anybody or anything like that. The worst that I can see she's done is that she's hit another car, which doesn't look that badly damaged. No, so why are you trying to yank her out? I mean,
oh well, I've said it before.
I know, go on.
And I'll say it again.
Come on, bring it.
It all happens in Bournemouth.
It's true, it does.
Like,
it does.
God.
So after all of that, I'm just like, oh my word. So I was intending on Saturday morning, one of my friends is a PT, and I'm just going to stop the recording a second because she's just messaged me. I'm meeting her again tomorrow night to do some filming, and she said, I'm meeting you tomorrow, not tonight, aren't I? She's pregnant, so she's got real baby brain at the moment, so if I don't go back to her, she's going to panic. So I just need to reply to her and say, no, it's tomorrow, don't worry. Oh dear. Tomorrow, yes, 6 p.m. Right. Good.
That's right, you can leave it in. It's real life.
Well, yeah, I know it is, but it's one of those things where it's just I saw it come up, and it's like normally I just ignore it when we were recording the podcast, but this was like, hang on, no. The reason that I'm doing the filming for her is she wants to record a pregnancy fitness course for people, but also she's really suffering with her pregnancy at the moment, poor love, and terrible baby brain and all sorts of symptoms and all the rest of it, and I thought, I don't want her to be sitting there panicking for the next 3/4 of an hour. that you know, I'm there waiting for her at the allotted spot. Anyway, done that. So she was the person that I was meeting. She does a Saturday morning boot camp down by the beach, or although it's at the top of the cliffs, and that ends at 9 o'clock. So I said, look, I'll meet you at 9, and then we can do some more filming for her course. So that was all fine, and then I thought, oh no, I like to walk the golf course on a Saturday morning with Scamp. I like to, you know, follow the whole 18 holes around, because it's a good workout, and makes me feel better, because, you know, there's nothing else really going on a Saturday. So I thought, right, if I'm going to do that and get to the beach for 9 o'clock, I'm going to have to leave about 7:15. Okay, we can do that. That's fine. I can jump out of bed in the morning, give Scamp some food really quickly, get moving, away we go. And then I get a text message from my friend that who's has the dog Freddie, who, you know, Scamp absolutely adores, Freddie adores, Remy, his owner, saying, oh, are you doing your walk tomorrow? And I'm like, yeah, I am, but, you know, probably going at 7:15. And she's like, oh, that's a bit early. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but it's because blah, 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 all the rest of it. And she said, oh, well, I'll see what time I wake up. Maybe I'll see you, maybe I won't. So Saturday morning, it's about 7 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just lying in bed thinking, okay, we've got to leave in 1/4 of an hour. All right, we can do this. It can be done. It can be done. And then all of a sudden I hear the ping of my mobile phone, and I'm like, I better check that just in case. And it's Remy going, right, we're on our way. I'm like, damn it, gotta get up. I was thinking, well, I could stay in bed for a little longer and just do a shorter walk and all the rest of it. It's like, no, I've said I'm going to do it. I have to follow through now. Must do the walk. And actually, it was lovely. It was really nice. It was a really nice day. It was really nice doing the walk. It was hot at that time of the morning. But it was lovely. Got the walk in, got down to the beach on time, did the filming, so that was all good. Got back. Nice. We'd already planned to have a barbecue at Mum's on Saturday night, and then she asked if it was okay to invite her cousin Janice, who lives not as local, she's out in Ferndown now, but she's kind of equidistant between Bournemouth and my mum's, so it's like, yeah, it's fine, there's loads of food, all the rest of it. So I ended up going up to Mum's sort of lunchtime-ish and preparing things like, a Waldorf salad. I haven't done a Waldorf salad for ages, and that was gorgeous, really nice, and just other bits and pieces, and of course the big drama was working out how we could get some of the meat part cooked, so that when John put it on the barbecue, it was actually properly cooked, because bless him, doesn't always get the equation quite right. So sometimes it's sort of, you end up with charred on the outside, raw on the inside. So it's all this kind of, subterfuge about how I'd seen an article about how food poisoning cases had gone up and all that. In the event we didn't need it. It was like, John, how long do you need? 20 minutes. Brilliant. I'll put the meat in the oven. He was like, oh, you don't want to cook it? It's like, no, it's fine. We'll just get it going like this, and that was it. It was done. It was fine, and it was lovely. It was really lovely. So normally when I go up to Mum's, I normally get the laptop out and I'm doing a bit of work and all the rest of it. But it was such a nice day. The first nice proper let's sit outside and relax day while we were waiting for Janice to turn up, and then we had the barbecue, nice glass of wine. It was lovely. It was really nice, really good. Very much enjoyed that.
Lovely.
So that was my week, really. It's all good. Oh,
a nice week.
Yes, a very nice week. But this week it's revenge of the meetings. This week, so next week I'm going to be knackered because we've got loads of I've got back-to-back meetings going on. This week, particularly tomorrow, and it's all your lovely Transform people who want to book in and give me a testimonial for you.
Of course.
So there's loads of those.
Sorry about that.
Oh no, it's fine. So it is interspersed by, some of my clients have got to look in, so it's fine. So we've got a couple of those. There's a few more that I'll be doing next week as well. So it's great. But I tell you what, I have to again shout from the rooftops. Why didn't I do Calendly earlier? Because it has made this process so easy. All I have to do is just give an internet link.
Much easier.
And people put themselves in. Why didn't I do it before?
No more checking around different emails and
I know. Exactly. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Easy. So shall we move on to our top of mind topic?
Yes, let's move on to that. Yes,
all right. So go on. This week we decided that we would revisit something that we have talked about before. I'm trying to remember and bear with us because we've got 108 episodes before this one, but I think we have mentioned today's topic, but I don't recall whether or not we have devoted a full top of mind to it. Whether we have or we haven't, we're going to discuss it anyway, and it's all about experiments and the importance of doing experiments in your business. Isn't that right, Sharon?
Absolutely. Big fan of experiments.
Definitely.
As you know. Because I always think it's a couple of things. One, it gives you a more kind of how should I put it, more optimistic approach to your business, a more freeing approach to your business, perhaps, because you're not so worried about getting stuff wrong all the time. You just kind of say, well, you can't really get it wrong, there are no failures, there are only experiments at the end of the day. It makes it a lot more fun as well, just kind of trying a bit of this, trying a bit of that, seeing what works, which is quite freeing in a way, I think. So kind of a big fan of it, and also as a person, I think I am very much, I would rather try something and see if it works rather than not do it at all, basically.
Oh, completely. You've got to give it a go, haven't you? Because otherwise you're sitting in ignorance, and this is something that really frustrates me when people look at opportunities or choices or things that they could do in their business and they discount it without even trying. You know, I mean, okay, so if somebody told you that you had to always do your live stream standing on one leg and hopping and flapping your arms like a chicken, that might be something that I might go, I'm not so sure I'm going to rush to try that one. Okay. There are going to be things that are a little bit further away from your comfort zone, let's say, than others. But to dismiss something without actually having tried it, I think is incredibly short-sighted. You know, I mean, we've talked many times about sort of things like accepting failure. And I remember saying, you know, I worried originally, actually, because I didn't consider that I'd had any failures until I realised that what other people were calling failures, I was just calling things that didn't work. And that's because I was experimenting. I was giving it a go and trying these things and seeing whether or not it worked, seeing what I could learn from it. And I think that's the other thing as well, is that just because something doesn't work, perhaps, doesn't mean that there's nothing to learn from it, and doesn't mean that there's nothing that you can't take forward to the next time, and maybe try again, or with a little bit of tweaking or whatever. But also, it doesn't have to be big new things that you experiment with. You can experiment with existing things that might be working perfectly well, but you just want to tweak them a bit, or you just want to try something slightly different. So, I mean, I can think of a few big things that we have both experimented with our business. So one of the most recent ones that springs to mind for you was trialing coming off of Facebook, going on to Mighty Networks, and then back to Facebook again. So that's what I would call a big experiment, you know, to see what happened there. But it takes a lot of courage, I think, to say that you're going to try something like that. It takes a lot less courage just to go, oh, give that a go, see what happens, you know, let's send this email, let's do it at this time, let's have a live stream here, let's add this into the free Facebook group, see what happens with it. Because the learning that you get from things like that, which reminds me, whenever we get the opportunity, which is going to be few and far between, I think, this week, we are looking at getting heat maps for your website, aren't we?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So I've got some recordings from, you know, being able to look and see what it is people are looking at when they come onto the website. And it's, you know, what a great experiment to be able to look at these things and to see what people are looking at, and to see how people consume the content that we put out there, because it's very easy to kind of fall into the trap of thinking that everybody is going to read everything as thoroughly as you have taken the time to put it together. And of course, you and I both know that that's complete and utter rubbish. Nobody reads anything.
People don't read things.
They just scan over it if you're lucky. But you know, to have that sort of like you say, that freeing attitude to it, which is, well, it's just an experiment and it'll work or it doesn't, or it might work a bit, and then we'll try something else and see if that works better, and either it will or it won't. So, you know, I think that's great. Exactly. Really good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really good. And we've been experimenting a little bit. Well, we are with the complete trainer, aren't we? Because we are coming to the end of this first round, so to speak. So we started in January.
Yes.
It finished at the end of June. When I say finishes, though, just to make clear that we don't throw anybody out at the end of the 6 months. They can just keep going and keep being within the within ever. So that's a great bonus for everybody that joins the program. But because we've kind of done it a certain way, and even that was an experiment, because we'd never really with an online program, we'd never really used that concept before. People just joining all the time, and kind of there's no kind of start date and end date to it. We decided this time, like, okay, right, so shall we do it like the same, or shall we just do a little thing a little bit differently? What can we change, what can we tweak, what can we experiment with? So that led to all sorts of things, didn't it?
Definitely.
From the actual delivery of the program, which we've tweaked slightly, making it like a 12-week course rather than a 6-monthly thing, which we felt was a little bit too long, to moving to just having not their own private Facebook group, but people coming into the Training Talk Facebook community group, because, you know, really they were just asking questions about the same thing, and it's full of the same people anyway. So we decided to do that, and then the biggest change is around the way that we're promoting it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thinking about it, we did quite a lot of experimentation on this one, but for the right reasons, I think, because we will get the results of that experimentation at different times. So in terms of the delivery, going from a 6-month program to a 12-week delivery of the same stuff. I mean, I say the same, obviously it's still live delivery, so it will be different and updated where we can on that stuff, but we won't know until the end of the 12 weeks whether or not we feel that's worked better for participants than the 6 month, and we might go back to the 6 month, or we might stick with the 12 weeks, or we might do something completely different again. So that's for that one. I think we're doing a bit of experimentation with the pricing as well, in terms of the level of discount and how we're promoting that and when we're promoting that. Like you say, I think the big difference between the two of us is that I've now got my CMP, Certified Master Persuader qualification, so I've been able to apply some of that to both the sales page and to some of the stuff that we're doing around the emails to people, and the promotion and the marketing and all that kind of thing. And we will keep tweaking and changing and trying, and trying different bits and different stuff. Quite apart from anything else, yes, we both are of the mind that if you're not doing something, then you're going backwards. So you've got to be constantly trying new things, but also our experience of trying these new things means that we can pass that experience on to other people that we're working with as well, which I think is really important, to be able to say, you could try this, and we did try this, and this is what happened with it, which I think is really cool for people to be able to learn from our experience. Because I don't know about you, but I don't know that I was always this open to experimentation. I think I did a lot of experiments without realising, but if I had something that worked, I think that's a distinguishing factor. If I had something that worked, I would have been quite reticent to change it. Whereas when nothing's working, you just try anything, right? So certainly the very early years of my business, it felt like nothing was working, so I was trying all sorts of different things all over the place, but it still didn't feel like failure. It just felt like, oh, that didn't work, let's try the next thing. So I bounced between lots of different things before I settled on, okay, this is what works for me in my business and the sort of way I do things. But having then the courage to go, okay, that has worked, but I'm still going to experiment about the way in which I deliver it, or the way in which I talk about it, or whatever that might be, the way in which I price it. I think that is kind of the next step, and not everybody's in the place to be comfortable with that, are they? So having the benefit of us doing it, and then giving them perhaps the reassurance that it's okay, and the world won't explode.
The world will end.
Exactly. So I think that's really cool about that. Have you always sort of been open to experimenting since you started, or not?
It's an interesting question that you're posing there, because I'm kind of thinking, am I? Or is it just as a case of, like you're saying, in the early days of your business, when you're feeling nothing's working and it feels like you're in one massive experimentation stage, then, aren't you? Because you're just doing everything is so new, and you're kind of like, trying different things and different approaches and different bits of software and different website. I mean, God, I don't know how many times I've had my website redesigned.
Well, I was going to say at least twice, if not 3 times, by me. So I mean,
it's kind of, so I'm always, and then we. And how many times have I changed my email provider? Going from it was only we went to Infusionsoft and then back to Active Campaign and all those sorts of things.
Do you know what? I've struck that from my memory. That was more recent than the Mighty Networks one, wasn't it? I've just completely struck it from my memory. So traumatic.
That was a big thing, that was huge. A big thing. And so, but I don't know. I'm just never afraid to kind of, maybe I just like new stuff. Maybe I just like not doing things in different ways, because I get bored with things easily. Actually, that was in my Insights profile.
Was it? Oh well. There you go.
My sunshine yellow, and I do. It didn't
That's
say
true. The next sparkly thing. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh well, there we go. That makes complete sense. That
explain a lot.
True. Yes, there we go. There we go. But yeah, I mean, I think for anybody sort of listening or watching, if you're, wondering whether or not trying things differently is right for you, I'd say, you genuinely, you don't know until you try. Give it a go. Try something new. Try doing something differently. Even if you can't think at the moment, if you've got something that you feel is working really well for you, and you can't think of anything that you'd like to experiment with, try tweaking something that's working really well for you. I promise you it is not going to destroy your business. I promise you. It takes an awful lot to destroy a business, actually. So there's no harm in doing little experiments and just giving it a go. And if you feel like anybody is challenging you in that, so maybe let's say you send out a weekly newsletter and you decide to experiment with doing it twice weekly. So, maybe you send something out on a Friday and you decide to send something out on a Tuesday as well. And then, you might get somebody coming back to you and going, oh, you're writing to me more often, or whatever it might be. You can still make the decision as to whether or not it's the right thing for you to do for your business. It's just an experiment. So all things are changeable, as I say, only fossils are set in stone. One thing I must talk about as well is I should have talked about it in my week, but it's kind of it comes under the class of experiment. I have been trying to set aside chunks of time to get my book written for ages, right? So I have a weekly accountability group, which I have been going to since 2017, autumn 2017, so a long time. This group has been around, so we know each other well. There's only 3 of us, but it works really, really well because we keep each other accountable. So last week I was talking about, look, whatever I've tried, it's not working. I really want to. I feel like getting the book done is something that's really important for me this year. So they suggested that I do, funnily enough, something that we have talked about in the Trainer Talk Book Club with Atomic Habits, which is attaching the habit to something else you're already doing. And then also using the Pomodoro technique, which is setting aside a set amount of time to do something. And I have to say it's been a revelation. So their suggestion was that I attached it to the morning, and I knew that wouldn't work without even thinking about it. And I appreciate on this podcast I've already said, how do you know until you try? Because I have tried previously to attach things to my morning routine. It just doesn't work. However, what I have been able to do is attach it to my lunchtime routine. So since installing Calendly, I realised that I needed to make sure I had booked into my calendar a period of time to have lunch, because otherwise people were booking back to back, or with not enough time for me to walk the dog and have something to eat. So I'd already put aside an hour in my diary every day to walk the dog, have something to eat, my lunch, so I could protect that space. So all I've done is add an extra half hour onto that, which is my book writing time. And since last Tuesday, every single day I have managed to do half an hour's writing every day. Which,
fantastic.
So this I'm going to class as an experiment with a big tick, I think, on that one. Sharon's got a book about it. What a surprise.
I'm just thinking, on the subject of the Trainer Talk Book Club, while we're here, I ordered the book that we are supposed to be reading.
Yes.
Which was 10 quid.
Yes.
Well, I'm sorry, but I feel a bit short-changed there.
Oh, do you know, I haven't bought that yet, but yeah, I'd feel short-changed by that as well. So, anybody listening, it is not the chunkiest of volumes, is it? It's more like a pamphlet. Wow.
Read it out properly, but I'm sorry, but 73 pages is not a book.
Absolutely not.
Really?
No.
That you should be charging a tenner for. I'm sorry.
Oh dear. Is the content any good? Have you read it yet?
Not yet. It better have been. Uh-oh.
Well, at least I know what I'm buying if I decide to press buy on Amazon then.
Well, I mean, one thing, I guess it'll make sure that we all read it, but I mean, I guess it's quality over quantity, but I was a bit.
Yeah, and it's an interesting size as well, because he could have made it chunkier by making it a bit smaller. It's a bit of an odd size. It looks quite big.
Yeah, well, not very impressed.
No, absolutely. Well, there we are. So, you know, from experiments to kind of experiments to books, you never know where this podcast is going to take you, do you? Right?
You don't. So, and where I want to move to next, before we finish, is the Dog Walking Digest, because, well, this week, honestly, one, there was the sheep, which I think we talked about before, which it was still around.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
You know, how they are not getting knocked over, I just don't know. And then yesterday, when I went down, we went down to Three Cliffs yesterday to have a longer walk while people were looking at the house. And you know, and there's cows all over the road and in people's gardens, just wandering about. It's like,
oh dear,
cows not getting knocked over. That, which, like, I don't know what goes on around here. But then the funniest thing, which I so wish I got this on video, but I just didn't. I didn't get my phone out quick enough. I was just laughing so much anyway.
Yeah.
So Jem, so literally last week, so she basically sort of goes into this sort of stream because she's really hot. And she always goes to the stream because she wants to drink.
Yeah.
She goes in like with a ball, and she just, it was one of those streams where there must have been like a sort of ledge.
Yeah.
And when you put your foot down, it's like a lot deeper than you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
It's only a tiny little thing. It was quite narrow.
Yeah.
So she went in it and then must have kind of lost her footing and ended up. And next minute, she was literally submerged underwater completely.
Oops.
And then she bobbed up, you know, and was like doing all this. And then she was trying to get out. And then she managed to, it was such a small confined space. She was like doing this, trying to get out.
No.
And she managed to turn herself around onto her back.
Oh no.
And then she went trying to get out of this. Honestly, it was the funniest.
No. Oh, poor Jem.
I know. And but you know, but at least she was cool after it. She got very, very wet. You know, you can imagine. Honestly, it was so funny. And then I just thought, Jem, how many times have you had these incidents in your life that all revolve around water and a ball? Always.
Well, you know what? It's the stuff that will get a spaniel into trouble every time, right?
Oh my God.
That's hilarious. I love that. I love that. That's brilliant. Well, nothing I can talk about with Scamp or indeed Copper can beat that. They're still same old, although Copper this weekend, when I see him, he should be slightly more comfortable because he's going for his grooming appointment, or at least he was going for his grooming appointment yesterday.
Very nice.
And it's the first time that John has been in charge of taking him as opposed to my mum. And she had to go off to, I can't remember, something to do with the bowls meeting or something. She was very worried that he would either forget to get the dog there at the right time or forget to pick him up at the right time. And she said they're very, very, insistent. You have to, one in, one out and all the rest of it, because you have to take the dog there and then they open up a cage in the front door and the dog has to go in the cage and then they pull the cage in and close the door and you're not allowed in and all this kind of, COVID malarkey. And of course, if you don't turn up at the right time, then it upsets all the other times and all the rest of it. It's not like you can hang around, or I mean you can, but you have to hang around outside. So I haven't heard differently or heard anything to say that it's gone wrong or anything like that, so fingers crossed. But he did have his instructions, which was to say to them not too short, so we'll find out at the weekend whether or not he remembered that one. Its hair will grow back, it's fine, won't be a problem. So there we are. That's all I've got to bring us on the Dog Walking Digest this week. So there we have it. Indeed.
There we have it. All done for the week. So yes, enjoy your week ahead, everybody. And we'll see you all next week.
Take care, everyone. Thank you. Bye.